Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 7th of August, and no shock here, we're continuing with that cyan under red. A little bit of softness from the steel at this particular point, so we can get a little back and forth, but beautiful shakeout, higher highs, higher shakeout reading. Those are the things we look for if you want to see continuation. Likewise from the NASDAQ, even more impressive, though, getting to pretty extreme now. We're at 24. You're starting to get up there into levels. Now, if we see an orange spike with that, then I would think that you're probably going to see a little bit of pullback within there. Euro still holding on to it. We're getting a lot more positive reads from manufacturing that at a lot of the different European countries. So there's your case for, suggesting that the euro is overall in better shape, though they just had an uptick in their. This was so ridiculous about it. Number of cases. We're talking hundreds out of populations in the hundreds of millions, and it's just an odd obsession to be focused on. I know they're paranoid about explosions and stuff, but you've reached a point where enough people have already contracted this that it's not really a factor. But it's going to be that way until November. It's really the way it's looking, just because you got to wait for the election. And gold, of course, maintaining up at its upper levels, though potential for a little bit of weakness here as we see the steel fade with the orange crossing above it. Whenever I see steel fade, I'm looking also for that orange spike, because that gives that crossover, really makes the significant difference. And from a gold standpoint, no question, we're still expecting either massive inflation or a continuation of just devaluation of the dollar. And I think you're starting to see it. Food inflation is already through the roof. Prices for certain, and this was all built in from the shutdown, because you reduced the amount of livestock and things like that, and so these manufacturers had to make up for all of that, and it's not so simple. It can't be done quickly or easily, and if you have to do it quickly, you have to raise prices fast. Intraday was pretty clean stuff. We just had some back and forth, and then again, all they look for is that little bit of weakness where you don't get enough selling to drive yourself back to the lows, and boom, they're able to just drive that up under the lighter liquidity, which is exactly what they did, and of course faded it back to fill the positive extremes that went right to about here, and that's exactly where the lows went. Retested that and popped right off, and right now we're hitting right back in between that. We had a couple of positive extremes, which you can see from the DOC rising dots right there, the little red ones, and then yellow indicating that a little bit too much, and I think we're just about to fill that one right now. So if that gets filled, that's all squared away. All in all, good stuff. Continue to work on some of the adjustment programs off that Power Mode 2 buy signals that come in. In this particular case, trying to match them to some of the previous candles, like in this case the orange. You can also see blue setups in that, but then working in the cell configuration, so we get a much cleaner rotation of the overall consistency of it, particularly when it comes to a situation like this where we're in a buy mode, and just because we ended up with steel cross, there really wasn't any orange spike above that really powers that decline, sort of like when you get here and you get that orange spikes. That really tends to give you the drive. In fact, we saw the same thing right here that just happened off the positive extreme. Steel comes in and you get the orange spiking back up next to it. So those are what I look for. It's just not so simple to put into language terms. It's easier to see it, but we're getting there. As always, though, trade well. I will put up anything relevant on the Skype chat.